What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Bobby's Big Board. Cam Skattebo quickly became one of the most entertaining running backs in the NFL last year. He runs with power, he breaks tackles, and he seems to look for contact on just about every carry. That physical style is a huge part of what makes him such an effective football player, but it also raises an important question heading into this season. Can Skattebo's body hold up if the Giants give him a full NFL workload? Today, we're going to look at what made him so productive at Arizona State, how those traits translated to the NFL last year, and compare him to several physical running backs from the recent seasons to see how their careers held up. So let's get right into it. I think we should start with the resume because the amount of work he put in at Arizona State was pretty ridiculous. During his final season there in college, he carried the ball 293 times for 1,711 yards and 21 rushing touchdowns. He also caught 45 passes for another 605 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air, giving him over 2,300 yards from scrimmage and a total of 24 rushing and receiving touchdowns. He even threw for an additional touchdown on top of that as well. So with that kind of production, why did he fall all the way to the 4th round? Well, the Giants eventually selected him with the 105th overall pick. I think the biggest concern was pretty clear with Skattebo. He only ran a 4.65 40, and he doesn't have the kind of long speed that usually gets running backs drafted early. And there were also questions about whether his contact-heavy style would work the same way against bigger and faster defenders in the NFL, and how long his body could hold up playing that way. But once he actually got onto the field for New York, his game translated pretty much immediately. In 8 games, he carried the ball 101 times for 410 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. He also added 24 receptions for 207 yards and 2 more scores through the air, giving him 617 yards from scrimmage and 7 total touchdowns in just 8 games last year. 8 games isn't enough to answer the durability question, however, but it was enough to show that the things he did at Arizona State could work in the NFL. So let's go ahead and get right into the film and see exactly why his running style was so effective last year. And this first play is really what Cam Skattebo is all about. You're going to see just a simple handoff inside zone here. We've seen it a million times. And you're going to see him. I want you to pay close attention here to 97. He's going to make a great play on the ball and have a really good chance to tackle Cam Skattebo here, but he just unfortunately can't make the play. And that's one thing about Skattebo. He is just so damn hard to tackle, and you see him in open space here. I'll play it again. He's just really good at just bouncing off tacklers. You see Nope. You see Zach Allen has a chance to tackle him by the jersey. That doesn't happen. And then you see make a guy miss. And then you see another guy, boom, get off of me, bounces off another tackler. He's pretty solid in open space with the footwork. He's not very fast, obviously, but you just see him. He's just so damn hard to tackle, and he's always getting the maximum amount of yardage, and I think that's one of his biggest strengths. And later, as we got into the season, the Giants really started to trust Cam Skattebo more and more with the receiving ability. And you're going to see that here on this slip screen approach that they're going to call. So you've got Cam Skattebo basically just running to the flat, and you're going to have 3 blockers out front. I want to say they pull the center, the guard, and the other guard as well. And you're going to just see him really work great in open space here, and he's a really good receiver. He's got great hands, very reliable hands catcher, and you just see what he does in open space, and then he finishes the run with a violent collision, which is one thing that we really need to highlight in this video. He loves contact, almost too much to where you're like, man, I really wish you wouldn't take so many hits, because, I mean, you're in the end zone. You're in the end zone, and you're taking a full-blown car crash to the head. This guy is psychotic. He loves contact. He loves to just run over people, and he does it really well. But that's one of the things you want to question about his longevity. Can he hold up this long? Because, gosh, that is just a car crash, man. But I want to focus more on the play here. You see versus the Denver Broncos, they're a great defensive unit, but look what he does in open space. He's very patient. He waits for his blockers to develop. He cuts in and out pretty well. Stiff arms the guy at the very end of the play, and then finishes really strong. And I mean, that's just something with Cam Skattebo that you're going to see a lot if he stays healthy next year. They're going to use him on these dump-offs. They're going to use him on these screen plays, and I would be shocked if they don't utilize him heavy next year. And on this play, this is where Skattebo's rookie season unfortunately comes to an end. He's trying to catch a pass over the middle on this angle route, and Zach Bond, he tackles him kind of awkwardly, and you'll see his ankle, Skattebo's ankle, kind of roll up underneath him, and it gets, unfortunately, a really bad injury. The result of this play is a dislocated ankle, a fracture, and significant ligament damage that required surgery. And I want to be fair here. This injury wasn't caused by him lowering his shoulder or looking for contact by any means. It was just an awkward play that could have happened to anybody. But I think this play still matters because we're talking about projecting him for a season of 250 to 300 touches. And this is a significant injury that could hamper his performance in a significant way. So I think we've already seen that his style can work in the NFL, but now the question really becomes whether they should ask him to do that for 17 games, because he was very effective when they were able to utilize him, and the Giants might be a little bit gun-shy to just unleash him fully because they saw what happened. He had a season-ending injury, and I don't think they're going to want to risk that once again in the 2026 season. We'll have to see. After watching the way Skattebo runs, I wanted to look at a few recent backs who played with a similar mentality and see how their careers held up. These aren't exact player comparisons by no means, but they're 4 different examples of what can happen when a running back's game is built around contact balance, physical finishes, and taking on defenders. So let's start with Josh Jacobs because he represents probably the best case outcome. Jacobs has handled legitimate workhorse volumes for most of his career. In 2022 alone, he carried the ball 340 times for 1,653 yards, and it's now taken more than 1,800 carries across 7 seasons. He has dealt with his injuries and played through plenty of them, but overall his body has held up well enough for him to remain a productive lead back. Jacobs shows that a physical runner can handle 300 plus carries and continue producing for years. Skattebo reaching that level of durability would obviously be the ideal outcome for New York. David Montgomery gives us a different example. Montgomery runs with plenty of physicality, but Detroit found a way to keep him productive without making him carry the entire offense. He had 219 carries in 2023, 185 the following year, and 158 last year, but he still scored 33 rushing touchdowns across those 3 seasons. That kind of workload might make the most sense for Skattebo. Let him set the tone, give him a goal line work role, and use him in the passing game as well, while another back absorbs part of the weekly workload. Then we have Chris Carson, who might be the closest comparison in terms of mentality. He was constantly fighting through contact and looking to finish runs, and when he was healthy, he was one of the most effective backs in football. But his career only lasted 5 seasons. A neck injury ended his 2021 season, and he eventually had to retire because of it. That injury could have happened to a lot of players, so I'm not saying his running style directly caused it, but his career still shows how quickly the window can close for a running back who takes that much punishment. Damien Harris gives us another cautionary outcome. His best season came in 2021 when he ran for 929 yards and scored 15 touchdowns, and he looked like he could become a long-term piece of New England's backfield. Injuries kept interrupting his career though, and a neck injury ended his final season in Buffalo. He retired at 27 after only 5 years in the league. He never came close to a 300 carry season, which is important. Managing a player's workload may help, but it can't completely remove the injury risk that comes with playing running back in the NFL. So when I look at all 4 of these careers, I don't come away believing Skattebo is incapable of handling a large role. Josh Jacobs shows that the workhorse outcome is possible. David Montgomery shows that a shared backfield can keep a physical runner productive. And Chris Carson and Damien Harris show how quickly injuries can change the direction of a career. Skattebo may be capable of handling 300 touches this season, but I'm still not convinced that asking him to handle all 300 of those would be the smartest way for the Giants to utilize it. So after looking at Skattebo's film, the injury, and the careers of the other physical backs, do I think he can handle a full NFL workload? I think he can handle a lead role. He's already shown that he can contribute as a runner, catch the ball out of the backfield, handle short yardage work, and create yards when the blocking isn't perfect, but I do not think the Giants need to give him 300 carries to get the best version of him. A workload somewhere around 15 to 18 touches per game would still give him a chance to have a huge season, especially if he keeps the goal line work and stays involved as a receiver. There will be weeks where the game calls for more than that, of course, and I think he can handle those heavier games. I just wouldn't build the entire season around asking him to run through defenders 20 or 25 times every single week. My expectation is that Skattebo leads this backfield when healthy and becomes one of the most important players in the Giants' offense. For fantasy, I do think the upside is obvious. He does have the role, the receiving ability, and the touchdown potential to finish as one of the better backs in football. The risk comes from the injury recovery and the amount of punishment built into the way he plays. So, can Skattebo really handle a full NFL workload? I think he can. The bigger question, though, is whether the Giants can give him that full workload without wearing him down before the season is over. Let me know what you guys think. Would you give Skattebo 300 touches, or would you protect him with more of a committee? If you enjoyed the breakdown, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Hey.